So thought I'd do a video, just wave my girlfriend off back to Minsk on the train. I'm here in Babroysk, about to walk home, and I thought, do you know what, I should do a video. It's been a long time since I've done anything, so I thought I'd kind of revamp the channel and start over from the beginning, and say why I'm here in Belarus, why I left the UK. So here I am in Babroysk. Here's the bus station. There's the train station. Probably first seen in a Bored and Bankrupt video, which is part of the reason why I'm here, but that's for another story. So yeah, I thought, okay, I've got a kind of long walk home, so why not relaunch the channel and start over and say why am I here in Belarus? Why did I leave the UK? Okay, so why did I leave the UK? Well, a plain and simple answer is well, I didn't want to live there anymore. So end the video. No, only joking. But yeah, basically that's it. I decided a few years ago that the UK had changed completely from what I knew growing up, and I don't want to get political here. I've got another channel for that, but it wasn't a country I recognized anymore, and I decided no, I didn't want to live here anymore. It wasn't a place for me. Yeah, I don't want to go into a load of details, but if you're near any big city in the UK, London, Birmingham, Manchester, it's not hard to see what I mean, to see where I'm coming from, because the UK has changed a lot, and it's not. I'm just gonna rush now because the red man's showing. It's a completely different country now, so put it that way. So I decided, yeah, I don't want to live in the UK anymore, but I didn't know where to go. One point I did have an apartment in Bulgaria. Before I came here, I bought an apartment there, and I thought that was the place, but no. I went there a few times after buying the apartment, and unfortunately for Bulgaria, they are in the EU. And once a country joins the EU, there's a lot of changes for them, but that's another story. So why did I come to Belarus? Well, probably 2017, 2018, I seriously started thinking about leaving the UK. this is after I sold my apartment in Bulgaria, and I thought, where can I go? And I watched a few videos on YouTube, and Belarus came up. The second most visited country in Europe, apparently, after Moldova. And I thought, oh, do you know what? If there's not a lot of tourists there, if it's off the beaten track, you know, I'm going to give this place a look. So my first visit here was in 2019. I came in November for, I think, a 5-day visit. I didn't know a word of Russian. I found an English-speaking driver to meet me at the airport. Sergey, nice guy, met me at the airport. Drove into Minsk. Obviously I needed some local currency. You can't buy the Belarusian ruble outside the country, by the way. You can only buy it inside Belarus. So I said, you know, I need some money, and we stopped off at a shopping center. I changed some money up, and prior to that visit, I obviously watched a few videos on Belarus, and one of the first things I learned about Belarus was that it's a very clean country. In Minsk there's no rubbish on the streets, and when I was watching these videos I thought, okay, I'm sure there's rubbish. And when I first arrived in Minsk, I never saw anything. My first videos in Belarus, I was just kind of filming pavements, because I was just amazed coming from London that there wasn't rubbish everywhere on the streets. And anyway, I spent 5 days in the country. I see a few sights, and after that time I decided, yeah, you know, Belarus is the country for me. And I made the conscious decision to, yeah, I will take my time, but I will leave the UK, and I want to move to Belarus. I came again in 2020. By the way, that's when I met my girlfriend. There's another story there, but we kind of met by accident, and it was around the time COVID hit. There's a whole load of stuff going on at that time, but yeah, I met my girlfriend. We've been together ever since, and yeah, I kind of made the decision to, yeah, I wanna leave the UK. I didn't know how. Despite what some other people say, you have to be well prepared to leave the UK. You can't just up sticks and have a couple of £100 in your bank account. You do need to make plans, and it took me quite a few years to to get to the position where I was able to fully leave the UK and come to Belarus permanently. So why Belarus? Well, here is I would say it's a high trust society. What I mean by that is you can leave your mobile phone on a table in a restaurant. You can leave that restaurant for a couple of hours. Obviously, maybe you forgot your phone, and you can go back and you can claim that phone. No one's gonna nick it. No one's gonna take it. Unlike the UK, where, especially in London, you put something down for 5 minutes, it's gone. There's no real crime in Belarus. I'm talking by UK standards. Being a high trust society, there's people follow the law here, and I had my first example of that on my first visit. I was standing at a crossing. There was no cars coming. I saw a red man and I thought, okay, there's no cars, let me cross the street. I crossed the street and everyone gave me such a look, like, what the hell are you doing? And that's when I realized that here in Belarus, people don't cross the street when it's a red man, even if there's no traffic whatsoever, because it's against the law. You can get fined for it, and people just don't do it. And if people are that ingrained to follow the law for crossing the road, then they're not going to mug people, they're not going to rob people, they're not going to murder people. So it's a high trust society, it's a safe society, and that's one of the first things I noticed about Belarus. So we're just gonna go into a park now. It's my local park. Really nice, beautiful place. Anyway, feel free to look around as I'm rambling on. So yeah, there's a host of issues why I left the UK. It's especially being from London. I mean, I was born and raised in London, and I did have a flat. I did buy a flat outside London in Essex, but London I always see as my home. I worked in London, but I don't recognise that city anymore. I don't recognise it as a British city anymore. It's not. It's the whole population is a complete mixture, and it wasn't my home anymore. And I think there's a lot of British people who still live in London who think the same. And it's very strange that my first visit to Belarus, to Minsk, in those 5 days I was here, I felt more at home in Minsk, not speaking a word of Russian, than I did at home in London. Very strange, I can't explain it, but here I felt happy, I felt safe, and I felt, I can make a life here, and not in the UK. And anyway, so I made the decision. This is a really nice cinema, by the way. Mia Cinema, World Cinema in English. This place is very Soviet. I did a YouTube short a few years ago. You can check it out, but this place is a time capsule. It's literally like 1980 inside. If you ever want to see a real Soviet cinema, just check that short out. I'm taking a detour here because last month we celebrated Easter here. There's a tradition in Belarus that you take a little plant, you take it to the church. My girlfriend knows the name of this, I don't. But you take it to church, the church blesses it. You keep it in your house over Easter. And it's part of the Easter tradition. At the end of Easter, I thought, you know, I can't just chuck this plant into the bin after, you know, taking it to the church and getting it blessed. And so I decided, you know, I'm going to take it to the local park and I'm going to plant it. So just left my girlfriend on the train and I said I'll make a detour into the park and just check on the plant and see how it's doing. We've had a lot of rain here, so I think it's going to be doing all right. So yeah, I decided on coming to Belarus. But I will say that leaving your homeland and leaving your country, however bad it is, however much you dislike it, it's a big step in your life. I mean, it's a major step. Leaving your job, your friends, your family, and making that move. It's a major step. And as much as I hated living in the UK, it took me a while to get prepared for that. I'm just gonna see if I can see that plant. Yeah, excuse me while I'm looking for it. It was right about here. And I can't see it. It's been a while since I've been here, but yeah, excuse me for this, but I did promise my girlfriend I would do a photo, and no, it's not there. Okay. Anyway, where was I? Yeah, leaving the UK. There's a few things you need. I'm talking about coming to Belarus. I'm not talking about other countries, but first of all, you need money. Belarus isn't like the UK. They're not going to give you free money for just turning up. You have to earn your own keep here, and if you haven't got the money to support yourself, then don't bother. Secondly, you're going to need to know some of the language. That's another reason that I took a while before I moved here, was my Russian was just terrible. I mean, you could probably argue that it's still terrible, but I get by now. But yes, you need to speak some of the language here. I did watch a video of some British guy living in Minsk who's actually married to a Belarusian, who actually did a video and said that he survives in Belarus without knowing any Russian whatsoever, maybe a few words. And he says that he uses Google Translate for all these situations. And honestly, when I watched that video, I laughed, because I thought, yeah, this is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. So I would argue, no, you cannot live in Belarus without knowing any Russian and just using Google Translate. Absolutely not. First of all, I mean, I've got a Belarusian girlfriend, but if you've got a Belarusian wife, then learn the language, my friend. It's the country your wife's from, you know. How do you expect to live here not knowing the language? You know, when you're on a train and on one of the rare occasions before I knew a lot of Russian, there was something seriously wrong with the train. It was going very slow. The lady who worked on the train come by and said something really fast in Russian. I didn't know what the hell was going on, but the train stopped for about 20 minutes. I didn't know what was going on. Everyone else knew what was going on. How can you use Google Translate in that position? You know, no one's got the patience for you to upload an app and start, you know, can you speak into my phone so I understand what's going on? No. You need to know some Russian if you're going to live in this country. I don't mean you have to be fluent. I mean, I'm not fluent myself, and I've been studying for 5 years. You don't have to be fluent, but you need to know enough language to get by in life. To go to the shops, to deal with different situations. Just make the effort. I mean, there's plenty of people in the UK who aren't bothering to learn English. Why are you going to be one of those people who go to another country and not take the time to learn their language? So yeah, you need to know the language. That's one of the first things you need to do, especially if you're going to come to Belarus. Obviously Russia as well. Secondly, Belarus issues a visa for a number of reasons. This is a really beautiful park, by the way. I'm going on, but I'm not really taking in the scenery, but yeah, it's a really beautiful park. Loads going on. I will do another video at some point and really explore this park, but I just want to go home at the moment. So, and that's a long enough walk. So, where was I? Yeah, Belarus issues a visa for a number of reasons to come and live here. You can either marry a local, you can have a job offer, study here, or you can buy property. That's the route I took. Fortunately, I was able to sell my flat in the UK, which gave me some liquid cash that enabled me to buy a property here, and that was the step that I saw for myself to get a visa to live here. I will touch upon this in another video, how to move here, how to get that visa. But yeah, essentially, if you own a property here, if you have some money in the bank, the right documents, kept your nose clean with the authorities here during your visits, then yeah, they will give you a TRP, which is a temporary residency permit, and you can live here for a year, and then you just renew it every year. And it's no problem. But yeah, you do need some money in the bank. It's actually not much. It's about 5,500 rubles, probably about 1,600 pounds. As long as you got that in the bank and you got all the required documents, and also you must have a bank account here. That's another story as well. It took me a while to find a bank that would accept me as a foreigner. But yeah, you have all that, then they will give you a residency permit, and you just have to renew that every year. And yeah, that was the option I took. Because for me that was the easiest option. I didn't want to study here. I wasn't really confident on my Russian to work here, and I wasn't planning to get married. So yeah, that was my entry into Belarus. So yeah, after first coming here in 2019, it's now 2025. This is my second year living here, and I have to say it's one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. I mean, don't get me wrong, I really miss my family, and if I could say what the hardest thing is about living here is, yeah, I miss my family a lot. Everyone's got different situations with their family, but you know, I'm very close to mine, so moving out here and being reasonably far away from home was a big issue for me, and so yeah, that's probably the biggest problem I ever had moving out here. But yeah, apart from that, I'm really happy here. The cost of living in Belarus is, I'm talking from a London perspective, it's amazing. I mean, if I take my living expenses right now. Bear in mind I'm in Babroysk. This is not Minsk. Prices here are a little bit cheaper than Minsk. Nothing major, but it's a provisional city. I survive here on probably 1200, 1300 rubles a month, which is probably about 350 pounds, max 400 pounds a month. And I'm talking that's food, that's utility bills. Obviously this is for another video, but I bought an apartment here, so I've got no rent to pay. But this is also for restaurants a few times a month, going out with my girlfriend, cinema, trains, occasional theatre, the odd clothes item. Yeah, 350, 400 pounds a month max. Could you live anywhere in the UK for that? No. Could I have the lifestyle that I have here in the UK right now? Absolutely not. And obviously a lot of other reasons. Been in London a lot. To be honest, I was tired walking along the street looking out for danger. You know, I grew up on a council estate. Unfortunately, my mum's still there. I visited a lot. Sometimes I would go there after work late at night, and you're constantly looking around. You're eyeing for danger, you're eyeing for trouble. You know, is this guy gonna do something? Are those guys over there gonna do something? You're never relaxed. Because crime is out of control in the inner cities. And if you say it's not, you're a liar. You're deluded. Crime is, in the major cities, crime is out of control. And you know, I didn't want to live like that anymore. And the best thing about Belarus is I can walk down the street in the middle of the night, and I've done many occasions in Minsk, not so much here, but I can walk down the street in the middle of the night through any area, and I'm never in fear of by the way, I love cats. Yeah, I absolutely adore cats. I can't have one here because I go home too much, and who's going to look after it? But my mum has a lot of cats, so yeah, it's another thing about living in Belarus. I really miss cats. If I didn't have to go back to UK so much, then yeah, I would definitely have a cat here. Yeah, so where was I? Yeah, I like walking around and I'm not going to get mugged. Simple as that. You know, I like living a peaceful, quiet life here, and you don't get that in the UK. I'm talking about the inner cities. You know, if you're from the country, you probably have a different experience, but I'm talking about inner London here, you know, Manchester, Birmingham, all those big cities. It's not a nice place to live anymore. And yeah, I have to say, coming to Belarus is probably the best decision I ever made in my life. And it's a big thing to leave your homeland. But if you're prepared, if you can take that first step, and it's kind of a leap of faith, because it's a big thing. It's a big thing leaving your home, leaving your family, leaving your friends, leaving your work, leaving what you've known, and coming to a strange country where you don't know everything, where you don't know all the language, and I still don't know all the language. And there's plenty of words I don't know in Russian. I can get by, but yeah, I'm not fluent. And I don't think I'll ever be fluent, because this is the hardest language I've ever had to tackle in my life. And I admire these guys who can pick up a language in a year or 2 years and speak fluently. I'm not one of those. I'll probably touch upon in another video how I dealt with the language here, but it's a battle. It's a battle every day. There's always going to be words you don't know, especially for us English speakers. You know, we're not inclined to learn other languages. We're so used to the whole world speaking English. And anyway, I'll touch upon that in another video. But yeah, it's a battle. So yeah, I realise I've been rambling, but I thought, you know what, I got a long walk home, and I'll just non-scripted, I will just talk into the camera and see what comes out. But yeah, I always say that if you've got it in you to leave the UK, if you prepared yourself, if you know where you're going, just do it. You know, it was about three years before I decided to leave the UK when I actually did it, because I wanted to be prepared. And yeah, if you got it in you, you want to leave the UK, you want to make a better life for yourself, just do it. It's not easy. You're going to need money in your pocket. If you're thinking about Belarus or Russia, and probably a lot of other countries, you're going to need to know the language to some degree. Make the effort, and a new life is waiting for you. Anyway, I've been rambling a lot, so I'm near my apartment now. But thanks for keeping me company. I'm gonna make a serious effort to make more videos for the channel. I mean, if you can call it a channel, but I'm gonna yeah, make a serious effort. I spend a lot of time at home on the laptop. I don't get out a lot, so I decided, yeah, if I make a serious effort, make a few videos, at least one a week, it will get me out of the apartment. So yeah, look forward to making another video, and I'll touch upon upon a few subjects I touched upon today. So yeah, thanks for keeping me company, and till the next time.